In July 2014, two Russian helicopter pilots flew across the Yamal tundra and looked down at a hole that had no business being there. The Yamal Peninsula juts north from western Siberia into the Kara Sea, a flat sheet of frozen marshland under permafrost that goes down hundreds of meters. The local Nenets herd reindeer across it. Beneath the moss lies the largest natural gas field on the Yamal Peninsula, the Bovanenkovo deposit, owned by Gazprom. For most of human memory, the surface was geologically dull. No volcanoes, no faults, no spectacle. Then, in the summer of 2014, the helicopter pilots came back to base with photographs that made the entire Russian Arctic suddenly look unfinished. The pit was nearly perfect, a near circular shaft about 30 meters wide, blackness inside, and a fresh raised ring of churned earth around its rim. Frozen clods the size of bookcases lay scattered up to 120 meters from the edge, as if launched. Russian state television flew in a crew from the Oil and Gas Research Institute in Moscow. Vasily Bogoyavlensky, the geologist who would become the face of the investigation, lowered cameras and instruments on long cables. The shaft turned out to be roughly 50 meters deep. The walls were ribbed with horizontal layers of frozen sediment, like the inside of a felled tree, and at the bottom, a small turquoise lake had already begun to form from the meltwater. Instruments lowered into the shaft tested methane at concentrations thousands of times above normal background. Bogoyavlensky's team concluded that what they were standing on the edge of was a buried bomb. Below the permafrost lies an enormous reservoir of methane and methane hydrate, a frozen ice that locks gas molecules inside its lattice. When the surface warms, the seal weakens. Methane builds up beneath the cap and pushes. Pressure does not vent slowly through frozen ground. It accumulates until the cap simply gives. In the case of the Yamal crater, the cap had gone in a single explosion. The roof of permafrost above the gas pocket had blown straight up and out, taking the frozen ground with it. There was no fire, no flash anyone witnessed. The mechanism was closer to a champagne cork the size of a city block, with the cork weighing several thousand tons. By the end of the decade, the team had identified more than 15 similar blowout craters scattered across the Russian Arctic, some in the Yamal Peninsula, some on the neighboring Gidon, several already flooded into round lakes that hid what they were. Locals reported small ones they had seen open in their grandparents' time but never reported. Satellite imagery from the 1980s showed the precursor mounds, small green domes rising centimeters per year, that geologists could now use to locate the next ones before they blew. None of the explosions had killed anyone, but a Bovanenkovo gas worker was now considered a casualty waiting to happen, and one of the freshest mounds sat a few kilometers from a major pipeline. The tundra had been mapped, photographed, and herded across for 1,000 years. The maps had simply not known what was underneath them. Underneath was the kind of thing the maps don't show. A lake in Cameroon hid a gas pocket of its own and killed 1,700 people in 1986. Like and subscribe.